Ladies and gentlemen, I'm yours truly, the legend himself, Labzy, aka the best motherfucker you ever met in the history of your life, and I can prove it to you even though I shouldn't. The most loyal, the most honest, and the most respected. And we are here. The next guest in December is another freestyler. And this man, I haven't seen this man, but also on the socials, I've seen him when he's freestyling. You see him at other events as well. He's even he was a part of Nick's album release party. This was a while back, and he needed a freestyle. And then my next guest was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm happy to do it. Let's do it. And you just see this man like freestyling away, and what's really interesting and unique about this. With this freestyler is that he knows how to do a push-up while he's freestyling. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how is that even possible? How do you do that? How do you do that? So it is an interesting one. So, and he was happy to be a part of the show today. And yeah, we're gonna hear what he's about. So I'll bring him in right now. Hang on just 1 second. I'm ready. All right. Sorry, so there he is. Let's just hope that Instagram behaves itself. And yeah, man. So what I was saying before, that this man, when he freestyles, especially just everywhere, not just just busking and stuff like that. Even he's even outside right now. One of the greatest freestylers, and also again I was saying before, like this man knows how to do a one hand push up while he's doing it. And man, so ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Sliq Mick. How are you, sir?
Not too bad, Labzy. How you doing, mate?
Man, I'm on top of the moon right now, bro. I'm on top of the moon, man. And first of all, I wanted to ask you, man, how is your mental health?
Ah, man, if I'm being honest right now, it's pretty shit.
Why? What's wrong? What's happened?
Ah, man, it's just going through like a lot of change and transition at the moment. But like it's all part of life, really. It can't always be, sunshine. You also got to
Yeah.
go through those stormy times. It's very cloudy and muddled, but it's essential for growth. So I'm just going through it right now, but that's okay. I'm just taking
Yeah,
each day as
man.
it comes.
Yeah, there's always sunshine at the end of that rain, bro. So always keep fighting, bro, because that normally means that you need to go through something because something needs to change or whatever, and you're gonna evolve right after it. So it's all good, bro. You
No,
know what I
100%,
mean?
man.
Yeah, bro. But I wanted to talk about you because okay, let's really be honest here. You are one of the most confident freestylers ever, especially in the scene. And the reason why I say that is because, as I was mentioning in the intro, that you love to freestyle everywhere in the city of Melbourne. And I wanted to ask you, how did the inspiration of freestyling come to you, and how did you build the confidence to start busking in freestyling?
Well, I didn't actually really start confidently freestyling until I came across Don't Sweat the Technique, really. Before that, primarily my busking sort of consisted of just doing my own originals. But stepping on stage with Don't Sweat the Technique is where it really sort of gave me the confidence to actually just go after it. But also, just I think the main mental block for me starting freestyle rap was just getting over that fear of fucking up, really, because you got to embrace the mistakes, like with everything in life. If you're not making mistakes, then you're not actively learning, right? But after I sort of discovered Don't Sweat the Technique and started sort of getting more comfortable with the community, that's when I started incorporating my freestyles into my busking repertoires, and actually like getting over that fear of just messing up when you're up on the streets. It's just like that next level because and it kind of gives you the confidence just to keep sort of like growing.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And so in your opinion, what makes a great freestyler, in your opinion?
Um, in my opinion, it's literally just being able to put like actual depth and emotion into it. Um, and definitely like being able to incorporate like your surroundings into the freestyle rap. Like say per se, if I'm busking on the street and there's just someone walking past with a particular shirt that might be sort of based around an anime that I know, and I'll just be able to sort of like shout them out really quickly and just get like even a quick reaction or acknowledgement or a smile out of them. But yeah, I'd say just above all else, being able to put like real depth and emotion because freestyling can be sort of therapeutic. There'll be sort of times where I'm just sort of like putting on instrumentals when I'm in the car driving, and I'll actually just internally like rap about something that's maybe plaguing me, something that I'm going through, something that's really weighing on my mind, and actually just sort of like vocalizing it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
when it comes to like, inspiration wise, like would you say who would your artist go to be for inspiration for freestyling?
I'd have to say probably the goat, Harry Mack.
Okay. What is
Yeah,
it
like
about him? What is it about him that really inspires you?
I guess he's just driven, man. He's consistent. Whatever you see his videos, like he's always bringing that energy, and that's something I always sort of want to strive for myself because I want to have that energy to sort of lift people up and actually sort of make an impact on them. Really, yeah, yeah. So,
Okay. And you felt that you wanted to kind of impact people as well with your freestyles and the messages that you try to bring out to the world too?
100%, man. Like that's the main thing I'm trying to achieve through my music first and foremost is actually just normalizing honest and open expression and like yeah, just you know being vulnerable and really like and through like people seeing me be vulnerable like in public hopefully inspire them to sort of look deeper within themselves, and it's already starting to happen, man. Like I've had a few really uh, wholesome interactions, one of which actually just happened probably around 4 or 5 months ago when I was working at the cafe, and this guy actually just walked past the door and he just said, "Oh, are you that guy who raps down at the pier?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And he just said, "Oh, I just wanted to thank you." And I said, "What for?" And he said, "Well, like last summer I was down at the pier and I ended up listening to your music for like a couple of hours, and it really touched me, and it inspired me to sort of look a little bit deeper within myself and actually start like journaling and working through some stuff. And I've actually made like a lot of progress. And you actually inspired me to sort of start that. So it was a really heartfelt moment, to be honest. I gave him a hug because I was just like, man, that's what actually I'm trying to do through my music. So to actually get that affirmation from him was
Mm.
it's really profound.
Yeah, and knowing that you've got people that again come up to you and saying, "Hey, you're that guy on the pier," da da da, and it's like you're getting recognized, but in between that, you're not really focused on that. I've noticed that you just go do the freestyle thing, you just do your thing, and then just go home, man. But then when you got people that see you, that even that are outside creators, right? And
Mm.
then they come up to you and be like, "Man, thank you so much," and you did say it is heartfelt, but what else do you feel when you've got people that are inspired by you? How does that make you feel?
Well, I don't know, man. Like that's the reason why I do it. Really, it's the impact of the people, but I don't know. I guess it just reaffirms that like I'm on the right path, really, because as a creative, you're constantly like your own worst critic. You're constantly like questioning yourself and doubting yourself and questioning whether what you're doing is even worth it. So to actually get to the point where people are actually stopping and actually hanging around for a few minutes, just for a few songs, because I mean, in today's society, man, the attention span of people, it's hard to actually engage people. especially like in the CBD, I've noticed, man, because yeah, 80% of the population is just walking around with their headphones on, and like I'm so hyper aware of everyone that's walking past, and I never take anything personally, man. But it's when you actually have like a few people stop past and actually genuinely just sort of enjoy whatever it is that you're doing, then it's a good feeling, man. So yeah.
Yeah, because I would agree with that with the whole city thing is because there's so much happening and everyone's just in their own little bubble in their own little world. You'll notice that people are just got their headphones on, minding their own business. They're not really taking in what's really happening around them. And I feel like, I mean, sometimes you do have to pay attention to what's happening around because you don't know what that is going to inspire. That or create that conversation. Like in other words, like man, I was in the city, had my headphones on. And as soon as I took it out, I heard this guy freestyle like on the over here, and I actually felt what he felt, and I'm just like, wow, hey, like that's what I would like to see,
Mm.
and because again, like you don't know where your inspiration or something that can make your day from something they didn't really pay attention to before, and now when it comes to them, it's just like, oh shit, wow, I didn't mean to hear this guy, but he's spitting, and wow, that actually made me feel good today, and then
Mm.
they'll continue on their day, and so do you mostly busk at the pier more than the city now, or is it everywhere?
The pier's like a really popular spot for me, especially in summer, just because like I'm frequently just trying to set up in spots where there's a lot of foot traffic and a lot of people.
Hmm.
So the pier is great for that in summer, just because it's also like really really beautiful surroundings as well. Like it's a really nice atmosphere. But yeah, like I have been doing like sort of more wrapping around the CBD during the winter periods, just because like the pier throughout winter is it's completely like it's desolate. So like there's so many people floating around. But now that the summer's coming in, Kilda particularly, like where I'm living, it really transforms in the summer. Like it's super seasonal, but yeah, I'd say it's just like it's a nice spot to set up because there's not many other people like actually busking there, so I don't really have to ever worry about it being contested. Um, but I have actually been doing like some busking sets at particular like hip hop artist shows. One of which actually happened earlier this year. An artist from Birmingham in the UK called Kofi Stone, who I've been listening to for a while. Really, really talented rapper who actually started out busking in the streets in Birmingham, like in Brumtown.
Hmm.
So he was doing a show at the Nightcat in Fitzroy earlier this year, and I actually just sort of like set up at the front of the Nightcat, and I was completely unaware. I was just playing for the line that sort of formed, and then on breaks, like people just coming out for a smoke would just be sort of like vibing to the music. Um, but it's kind of like a home court advantage, really, because everyone's there for hip hop music. Everyone's always going to have an opinion. Like, there's always going to be someone sort of throwing hate. Like even like Tuesday this week, I was busking down at the pier, and there was this guy walking past, and he was just like shaking his head, just walking past. And then I saw him walk down the other end of the pier, and then as he was coming back, I just like made a mindful effort to actually make eye contact with him and just sort of like smile, just try and throw some like positive energy at him. And he just
Hmm.
looked me dead in the eyes, and he's just like, "You can't fucking sing, mate." And I was like, "Well, that's accurate, man, because I'm actually a rapper, so I'm not actually singing." And he
Was
was
he an
wearing like,
older guy?
"Nah, bro's probably like mid 30s." Um, yeah, and he was
Okay.
and he was wearing like this Run Day Fun Day shirt. That's what it said on the back of his hoodie, and I was like, man, like Run Day Fun Day, my ass. Like, what's up your ass, man? And he just keeps on saying,
Yeah.
you can't fucking sing, you can't fucking sing. And
Yeah.
I must have had like probably around 10 or 15 people sat down just enjoying the music, and they were like, no, fuck that guy, like. And I was, and I actually reached out to him, and I was like, man, like this music's all about mental health. Maybe like you could use a little bit more of this. Like, there's no reason why you need to be throwing hate for absolutely no reason. And I actually asked him, "Are you doing okay?" And he just told me to fuck off and get walking. So,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
it's a minority. There'll always be one, but it doesn't faze me at all. because even just like the people who were present were just like, don't worry, like your voice is actually really good. I've started incorporating a little bit more singing into it, and I might not
Mm.
have like the most picturesque voice, but you know what, like I'm still gonna give it a crack anyway, because you know,
Yeah, exactly. And then because because I've noticed that because what I like about when you freestyle, you're very in the moment. You're very just free, right? I mean, so tell me when was that courage? When was that moment that you're like, you know what, I'm just going to give it a try, and I don't want to be scared anymore. I'm just going to do it. Like when was that? That's what the technique was. It was that moment.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Um, like another thing I've been sort of like working through that is internally plaguing me is like I did always have like a tendency to always like smoke a little bit of weed in order to enter that flow state and actually feel comfortable performing. And that was like a hard thing for me to a hard habit for me to break because like I guess like I got used to that sort of like false facade that it sort of like put me under, and that was like a really hard habit for me to break. So it's something I am working through now.
Mm.
Because I've just kind of like reached that point where I'm just like, you know what, like it's just having too many adverse effects on me and fucking me over in unforeseen ways that it's no longer serving me. So I'm actually just sort of trying to look a little bit deeper within myself right now in order to sort of get that sense of inspiration. Because if I'm being completely honest right now, like even the better part of this year, like I've kind of fallen back into the habit of always, you know, feeling like convincing myself that I actually need it in order to reach that level of confidence to enter that flow state. Because yeah, I haven't really been able to tap into my creative side without it, and that's something that's been really bugging me because I know within my heart that I am creative at heart. I do have like a lot of talent, and I don't really need the assistance of anything in order to get me there. But it's it's not easy, man.
Yeah, because I was going to ask as well. Like, do you? Because there are some artists that you do have artists that do have substances to help them kind of feel, give them that little boost of being in the moment or whatever, and then there are some that do it 100% sober, right?
Yeah,
So would you say that your most creative moments are when you're on a substance?
that's what I'm trying to work through at the moment, to be honest. Because
Yeah.
and it's not like I'm calling out weed to say, but I think it's just something I've identified within myself that I wish it like was like amazing at all times. But to be honest, like there's always been aspects of it which have sort of like fucked with me that maybe have been aware of, but since I've actually become aware of them, I can't really deny it anymore. And it's just like, yeah, I can't really enjoy it. Um, but I know, like within my heart, that I can enter that creative state. I've just got to figure out how to do it. To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a journey that you're also learning as well for your growth in your music. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, 100%. Because yeah, like there's no point in it making me feel creative or comfortable even just for a brief period of time if there's it's only a finite amount. Then after you sort of it it'll be like that euphoric high where you're creative and everything is flowing, and then like it could be like 45 minutes later I'll just sort of like crash, and then even for a few days afterwards feeling like super disconnected and perhaps even like a little bit paranoid. And I'm just like, nah, man, this ain't it. Because like that's been like a huge inspiration for my writing recently. I'm trying to actually turn this into a song,
Hmm.
but it's all about just reconnecting with that childlike uh, sense of innocence and creativity where you're not really burdened by anything. Because I feel like we all have that,
Oh yeah.
and and yeah, man, like yeah, that's what I'm trying to get back to because I feel like that's where my best work is yet to come because yeah, at the end of the day, like I was using weed for a number of years to escape from like these uncomfortable emotions, and it was
Mm.
definitely something that I used to abuse.
Mm.
And then like it's like the little lies you tell yourself, like, oh, like maybe I can, do it with more moderation. But it's just like, in any sense, like if you're using something in order to alter your brain chemistry and to make you feel a certain way or to be able to do a certain thing, then you're relying on it. And I don't feel like you should be relying on anything
Mm.
really. Like, um, yeah,
Like the creativity has to like flow within itself.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel that because I've always felt that, especially with my creativity that I do with like with my voice acting or with my wrestling ring announcing, you just allow you just got to learn to trust yourself and really just let your creativity just go and let
Mm,
and see where exactly it actually can take you. You know what I mean? And yeah, it is a gamble. It is a gamble when you let it all go because even as a creative, and you'll understand this, is that you don't know if people are going to like it or not. But then you have to fight with yourself and be like, no, we're just going to do it because we enjoy it. And
yeah,
whoever and whatever energy attracts that, let it attract that. And
mm,
whatever, scare it away, then that means it wasn't for you in the first place.
no, 100%.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So no, I get that, man. So tell me about your love for music. Like, where did the love for music come from? Was it from family? Was it a specific artist that you mentioned before? Like, how did music inspire you to become a musician?
I guess ever since I had my own iPod, really, like I'd constantly find myself like listening to my favorite artists, and actually like envisioning myself like performing, like on a stage,
Mm,
really. Like I've always had like this really like intense like imagination, I guess,
mm,
like visually imagining like what it is that I'm doing. And it took me a while to actually sort of like start making my own music. Like, I didn't actually start writing my own songs until around, I would have been like mid 2021. I just moved up to Byron Bay. It was right as after the Ring of Steel got lifted from Melbourne, after the COVID restrictions got lifted, and I just drove up the East Coast with the best mate of mine without a plan. And yeah, everything sort of happened very serendipitously. Like, I caught up with a mate I used to work with who was running a bar in Byron Bay, and yeah, I just asked him if he needed any bartenders, and he said, "Yeah, man, we could start you next week." I inspected this house of flatmates, and it's just this family just living right above Byron Bay and Ocean Shores. Um, and I ended up like inspecting it and moving in the same day. Um, and I don't know, I think it was just something about the new surroundings and just being able to sort of like start like fresh scenery. And I don't even know what like sort of inspired like the writing journey itself. It just kind of happened. I remember writing my first song of this at my favorite cafe in Brunswick Heads, and I saw these guys who were busking on Main Beach one day, and they were just like these brothers from Newcastle. They were guitarists, and they were sort of like did a lot of like folk music and singing. And I wanted to do the same thing, so I kind of just like waited until they were on a break and just stayed quiet and said, "Hey, look, like, do you reckon you can give me an idea of what equipment I need to do this for myself?" And they were sort of like really, really friendly and helpful. So, and I just sort of naturally started networking with other musicians around the area, and one of them was kind enough to lend me a speaker, and a mixer, like an interface and all the XLR cables. So I just needed to get a marine battery, an inverter, and an SM58, and I just started doing the same. And that would have been, yeah, the end of 2022 when I eventually started this busking journey. And at that point in time, I'd only had around 5 or 6 songs sort of written. And yeah, I just sort of started performing one day on Main Beach, and I still remember it was like really nerve wracking. Really, like I remember like I was just setting up my speaker, and this guy walked past, and he just said, "Oh, you're just gonna piss everyone off." And I was like, "Excuse me?" It's like, "We can't
yeah,
just sit down here and start blasting your shit music." And I was like, "Hang on, mate. Like, do you speak for everyone here?" Like,
yeah.
um, and I was just like, "You
Oh
know what, mate?
man.
How about you just trot on?" Um, And yeah, I didn't let it phase me. I just sort of played my songs, and I must have only been playing for around an hour and a half, and I ended up making like 152 bucks or something like that. I remember like actually depositing into my bank account and being like, damn, I actually just got to, do something I love. And I made like 150 bucks in an hour and a half. Like I don't make that sort of money working hospitality.
At all.
Um,
At all.
and it's not always like that. I mean, there's busking sessions where I walked away with, no more than 15 bucks, but it's never really about the money. It's just yeah, it's about the feeling it gives you, and actually just like the exposure, and sort of connecting with people.
Mm.
And yeah, I think the most beautiful thing about like starting busking up in Byron Bay is it is more or less like a very chilled out environment. I mean, despite the guy who was like the first interaction who said I was going to piss everyone off. Like, again, it's a minority. Like I had an audience is like with families with kids like under the age of 10, and I kind of just said, look, like, I'd always say like there are some expressive words in my songs, but they're not said with any malicious intent. They just meant to emphasize the point. So that's just talking about fucking shit, and I'd never drop the C-bomb or anything like
Yeah.
that. But it's just like, and they'd always be super like chill with it. But I'd get like families coming over saying they really enjoy the music,
Mm.
or even people like well into the 50s and 60s, and just saying, look, like as soon as you said it was hip hop music, we were about to walk away, but like that was actually like nothing like what we were expecting.
Mm.
Um, and I just because like people have a lot of um, people just expect rap music just to be about bullshit and have like really abrasive
Yeah.
lyrics, but that's that's
Yeah.
never been my style. I always want my one of my songs to be like really sort of eloquently written and like use extensive vocabulary, and have like a lot more like you know gravity. It's
Yeah.
not meant to grab people's attentions, but like a lot of hip hop music does, but actually just sort of you know um, allow them to like think more deeply, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Well, there you go, man. No, that's no. I like that. I just like how you take the courage and really just identify what really attracts your energy and what you disregard the negative energy, bro. I love that, man. There's always those creatives that they're waiting for that negative comment and then they completely stop altogether. And it's just like, why would you give up just because of one negative comment, or someone thinks that they speak on behalf of other people, like you mentioned before, and they like it just doesn't make any sense, bro. Like I think we need more people like you to really just not give a shit about what people think. If they like it, they like it. They don't, and then
Mm.
just keep going because you love it. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, you know what I mean. So talk to me about support, though. Now, would you say that you've got support and people are 100%, well, not 100%, but like people that are on board with what you do, with the busking and the music?
No, man, I'd say like a percentage of my interactions, I'd say more than 90% were all positive. Probably
Okay.
even greater than that, to be honest. Because like, say if I'm setting up for like a 2 to 3 hour period, I'd say maybe, on average 15 to 30 people will actually sort of like stop and actually shout me praise. And I'd say 1 in 5 of those sessions, you'll always have like one person who has a negative interaction with it. But I'd say more than 95% of my interactions, it's all received well. Um, and yeah, and it's not something I'm really looking out for, but it's just like naturally, like my songs are there's a lot of heart and emotion into it, and I feel like it does resonate with a lot of people. Um, a large percentage of the population will happily like walk past, but again, like like you never really know what anyone else is going through. They might not be in a headspace where they can even really stop and enjoy. Maybe they're like fighting their own demons, and maybe what they need to do is actually have their headphones on and just fucking put one foot in front of the other. Maybe like yeah. So it's like, but I'd say the people who do stop, like the reception, it's all good, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. No, I like that because the reason why I asked is because you've got two types of creatives when it comes to support is that they have family that kind of disapprove because they want them to be like doing safe jobs and stuff like that, and not do creativity, not because they don't want them to, is because that it doesn't pay the bills, like there's no career out of it, etc. And you know, you have the ones that, and yeah, then you have the creatives that are like, nah, family and friends are all 100% supportive. You do whatever you want as long as you trust yourself, etc. Would you
Mm.
say that the people in your life 100%, like family for example, is that would they're supporting you, they're backing you up 100%?
It's kind of like 50-50. Like,
Okay.
I'm extremely like grateful for my upbringing. Like, as far as like families go, like I'd say I'm extremely blessed, especially with the relationships I have with both of my parents.
Mm.
And 100% they do support what it is that I'm doing. I'm not sure if they like fully understand it, or I know like deep in my heart that, what they say to my face might be different to what they say in their own spare time. But
Mm.
really, at the end of the day, like, I don't feel like the support necessarily from your family is even like, 100% like warranted, because like, I mean, there's amazing creatives out there who have come from really fucked up situations, and even grown up without families, man, and they've strived to do incredible things. So, but I'd say like, yes, my family does support what it is they do, but I don't think there's really anyone in my family with that sort of creative bone. Um, yeah, especially not my brother per se. Like
Okay.
we're like complete polar opposites, but I mean that's okay, because humans are vastly different beings. Um, and yeah, like I'd say, like I've been down in Melbourne for 2.5 years now, and my brother's never once like made the effort to actually see me perform, which again doesn't bother me, because he's like very introverted. Like he doesn't really like being in crowds, so I get it.
Mm.
And I don't really take it personally either, because like, to be honest, like the community that I've sort of built up, especially based around the music scene down here, like you'll always go to a bar, and there'll always be like a friendly face there, someone you know, or someone you've been jamming with, or yeah. So it's just like, yeah.
Okay. No, okay. Fair enough. But as long as you still have the people that support you and love you, and they want to see you grow with whatever it is that you're doing. And I think happiness plays a massive role in that as well. So as long as they
Mm,
see you happy, and they actually see you, they see you basically having people that look up to you, shows that you're doing something right. And as long as you're not doing any criminal shit, criminal activity, then you'll be sweet. I reckon that they'll see past whatever pride they have. They'll look past it and be like, no, Slick Mick is happy. He's doing what he loves doing. All
mm.
right, I may not never understand it, but he's happy, and that's it. You know. So I love that. So when it comes to mental health, I know
Mm.
you're very big on mental health.
Yeah.
Why is mental health important to you?
I guess like the essence of it is like, like what goes on inside your head, it actually dictates exactly what you're seeing and how you're perceiving the world around you. Um, so like, and there's been times where like I've been going through some really, really dark times in my life, and for extended periods of time, like chronic depression and anxiety has really like kicked my ass most of my adolescent and young adult life. So like, the reason why it's so important to me is because, yeah, it dictates how you see the world. And like, if you're not seeing the world in a positive way, then you're not going to be able to really do anything. You're just going to sort of be stagnant in that one spot for however long. So I've been getting better at that, but music is really like therapeutic for me, in order to actually sort of isolate like a particular thing that's bothering me, and actually putting it into a song. And then even just like sort of like vocalizing it, it just sort of makes it less real. Like, because like inside your own head, you'll tend to like, fixate and really it'll just like manifest itself like inside your own head, and it'll get worse and worse. And sometimes like it might not necessarily even be making a song about it. It could be like reaching out to a friend or a coworker or a family member or who the fuck ever, a stranger on the street. It doesn't really matter.
Mm.
But actually just like vocalizing that internal dialogue and actually just sort of then and there realizing like how your mind is just like playing tricks on you. So I'd say mental health for me, it's just like, especially with like males, because like it's always been deep seated in society that we have to be these stoic, emotionless beings. And like even growing up, I'd always be the kid that get picked on because I was always like the one to react. And then of course, like especially in high school kids are cunts.
Mm.
Sorry to
Oh
say this,
yeah.
Bum. But and I wasn't aware of it at the time, but it may have actually them being like having like sort of like light-hearted fun, but because I had such a strong reaction, that's when they were like, all right, now we really got to dig in. Um, but sorry, I got a little off track with that one.
No, that's all right. That's all right. But it does play like a role in the mental health of, especially when it comes to bullies and stuff like that. Like that can get into your head as well, especially when
Oh
it
yeah,
comes to
no,
overthinking and like special stuff that's happening in the world as well. Like that can affect you as well. And going back to what you're saying about if you're not seeing positive, seeing the positive in the world, then it basically it's basically going to destroy you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because you do have to see some. Look, we know the world is corrupt. We know that there's a lot of things that are happening, and a lot of things are happening behind closed doors that we don't know about. But I've always said we just got to do our very best to make our world a better place in order to create a positive, safe place. These types of things in order to have that motivation to wake up in the morning smiling, and stuff like that, and really just focus on the gifts that were given to us, and see if we can spread that love, you know.
mm,
And I think that that's very very important. And because I'm a big man on mental health myself. Like I've for me, I'm now mastered how to be vulnerable in every single space, and depending on how people respond to that is going to determine whether they're going to be my people or not, you know?
yeah,
Because we can't be preaching mental health this, mental health that, and then when there's a moment where someone's being vulnerable in basically the umbrella of mental health, and then someone's like, "Whoa, hey, that's a bit too much for me." It's like, well, you can't be preaching about mental health and then telling me, "Whoa, that's a bit too much of me being vulnerable."
mm,
That's hypocrisy right there, right?
mm,
So I use that as a tool to be like, well, I'm going to be vulnerable, and however people take it, it's either they're gonna be my people or not. I'm not saying I'm going to do it on purpose, but if I feel like I need to let that out because it's been inside or been in my mind, I need to get it out to get it the hell out of there.
mm,
That's when it's going to be the ultimate test. And then if people listen and engage and not necessarily understand, I'm not going to expect people to understand what I go through, but at least they give me the space to actually speak up and be myself and not being judged for it.
mm.
You know,
Yeah,
and
man.
and that's what I'm doing right now, and I've realized that, you know, when I'm hanging around, like especially local artists in the scene, even such as yourself and others from Don't Sweat the Technique, and even just other places as well, because I was at Ripe at the last night as well, which was a really fun time, and yeah, like I felt like I was able to be myself, and even it was interesting because Mono the Messenger, when I bumped into him, right?
Mm,
he was like he's like, Labzy, bro, you're not awkward anymore. Like you're very like free. I'm like, in my head, I didn't know what he was talking about because I've always felt like I was always like that. But then it takes someone to realize that you're not yourself, and then now you're yourself now, and I like it because you're
mm.
being free. And it's amazing how even people can actually pick up that, are you being your real self? Are you being your vulnerable self? Has that ever happened to you, Slick, where people think that you're not being yourself, and even when you're not realizing it?
Uh, maybe on one occasion actually.
Yeah.
And it's rare because like sometimes people like will be very reluctant to sort of like say those sort of things. And it's a rare quality that someone will actually have the introspective ability to actually realize when your energy is different. Even like what Mono said to you last night, like it's very rare that someone will sort of like catch
Mm.
you with a phrase like that. And I think a girl I was seeing last summer, we were like madly in love last summer, and then we split ways, and she's traveling now. But she sort of like made a comment on like one of the reels that I was posting, and then she said, "Oh, like it just doesn't seem like you."
Mm.
And I can't even really recall, but it was actually just me. I guess I think it was one of those times where like I was just sort of smoking, and it affected my energy. But because it also like clouded my mind a little bit, I kind of just dismissed it. But then reflecting back upon it, it actually sort of it was just like another stepping stone, and actually in order to realize that, man, like, yeah, maybe I've just sort of been living with this like sort of like fake facade,
Yeah.
without actually realizing it. And I think I'm not gonna lie, when I first started making music, it was I'd say like a large motivation to me actually start performing live was I was like, oh man, this will get a lot of attention from the ladies, you know what I mean?
Of
And it was
course.
kind of and the first song I actually ever wrote, it was called Partner in Crime, and it was a love song of sorts, but it wasn't actually written about anyone in particular. It was just when I moved up to Byron Bay, and then before I moved up there, I'd never sort of been in like a long-term relationship, and it just never really interested me, to be honest. Like I'd see girls, but it would never really last like a long period of time. It was like I was sort of upfront with everything, and I just said, look, I just want to catch the date.
Mm.
Um, but then when I moved up to Byron Bay, I started like noticing like all these sort of like power couples, and it was just like my mate who actually got me the job at that bar, and
Mm.
the girl he was seeing. And then it's like a beautiful like dynamic relationship, and I was just like, damn, this seems like the type of place where like, um, it'd be really really nice to have someone like by your side to enjoy like this beautiful scenery and space with. So the first song I
Mm.
wrote was actually like, I think inside my own mind it was just like me even just like trying to send that energy out to the universe to to get a girl in my own life. And then I'd say like, like part of that motivation, and it kind of built into the mental health thing a little bit like later. But
Mm.
I'd say like when I first started performing, I was like, yeah, you know what, like girls will really dig this. But I kind of knew within myself, I was like, there's going to be a deeper meaning to this. It can't be you doing it for someone else, because like if
Yeah.
you're, what I've realized like in the last year or so is like, as an artist, in order for your art to connect with other people, it needs to first like resonate with you, and there needs to be like that deep love about that. Yeah, because if it's just for like shallow reasons, then people will see right through that.
Yeah, that's right. They'll be able to see like the fakeness towards it, like that it's a different, yeah. Like, no, I get what you're saying.
mm.
Interesting. Okay. So I
But
do
I'd,
want to talk about
mm,
your music for a second, because you are on Spotify, of course. Um, and I do want to talk about the song All Falls Down.
yo,
Yeah, tell me about that one, man. Like that got 2,646 listens.
all right. So that was a joint track between a friend of mine who I met up in Byron Bay actually, and he reached
Mm-hmm.
out to me on Instagram, and this is probably around. Let's do the math. When was this? Yeah, it would have been around like mid 2000, like the end of 2021, maybe the start of 2022. He reached out to me on Instagram, and this kid was 18 at the time, and he kind of just said, "Oh man, I'm a rapper. I'm based in Ocean Shores." And he sent me this video of this music performance he did, which was actually at the Northern Hotel in Byron Bay, which is like one of the biggest venues. So I was like, damn, like this kid's actually really, really, really talented. And I ended up just catching up with him one day, and then we just sort of like, you know, just did some creative writing together. And I was really blown away because I'd only really just started to write my own stuff, and I hadn't actually started doing it on my phone. I actually had like a book. It was all pen to paper. And then he like whipped out his phone and actually just showed me all his notes, and I was like, and I was really blown away because I was like, damn, there's so many times where like I'd have like these profound like hooks or things that inspire me to just sort of write down, and I'd never really write it down. And I was like, I didn't have my pen and paper with me, but I was like, damn, I could be doing it on my phone. And that song, All Falls Down, we actually just caught up one day, and we literally recorded that in his lounge room. There was another friend of his who was studying at SAA Institute, like this really talented guy by the name of Kynan, and he was studying like audio engineering at SAA Institute, and he mixed it and mastered it for us, and then yeah, like it was just like a summer feel good track. We went down to the beach in New Brighton, which is just up from Byron, but this beach is like completely deserted. Even in like the middle of summer, there'll be like a few families there, but if you walk down there on a winter's day, it'll still be like 24 degrees, but there's absolutely not a soul there. So actually, I don't know if you saw the music video for that, but we actually sort of, yeah, a few of his like childhood mates who are well into their videography, and they're going on to do like incredible things. They actually filmed that music video all in the one day, and they sent us like a raw edit at like 11 p.m. the day we filmed that, and I was like, damn. So like, yeah, like that's honestly like one of my favorite songs that I've released so far, because it was literally like a beat that we found off YouTube. We just, I don't even think we copped the stems. I think we just copped the WAV. We ended up recording it, laying it down in one day, and I was like, damn, this song actually slaps. And I remember we performed it at Bad Decisions Bar when I just moved down to Melbourne. This was like the end of 2023. And the guy who was running the event was just like, we were doing like the sound check, and he gave us like the biggest backhanded compliment. He was like, yeah, this is an actual song. And I was just like, thanks, man.
What?
That's what we're going for, bro.
This is an actual song. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But no, yeah, so Bodhi, yeah, Bodhi's an incredible artist. He's actually based in Brunswick. I've been trying to get him down to Don't Sweat the Technique for a while now, but he's been really busy with his own stuff. But I'm due for catch up with him. But Bodhi is actually the one who taught me how to rap in double time.
Oh wow.
And actually to write it. So one of the songs, I think it's got taken down off Spotify because due to like a payment error with my music distribution company, a lot of my catalog got taken down. But he was actually the one who taught me how to write in double time. And he kind of just broke it down for me. And he just sort of said like, well, like, in order to do it, you just need to make sure like the syllables match. And like the first bars that I ever written in double time, it's sweet to the tooth, nothing to prove. How did you think that I ever would lose? And he just kind of broke it down to me. So it's like you listen to the instrumental and you just use a syllable note. Like it could be da 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 da. So I'm sweet to the tooth, nothing to prove. How did you think that I ever would lose? Never uptight, love to get loose. My flow is expected to only improve. You think that I'm like, and like he actually taught me how to do that, and that kind of blew my mind because I was just like, damn, like he's got some talent.
And those are the things that actually create the flow as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, there you go.
But
I love
yeah,
that,
All
man.
Falls Down, hell of a song. We need to actually release more music together because if you think about it, like that was recorded in 2022, and we haven't really done
Okay.
anything since. We've had so much opportunity to make music, but yeah, I
So would
mean,
you say that 2026 is going to be your year of music?
oh, 100%, man. What I'm working on at the moment is really, really profound. I've done 2 sessions with Lockie Hamill, so
Nice.
I've got 7 tracks recorded, mixed and mastered, ready to go. I've
Okay.
just recently linked up with an old friend of mine, like a DJ from like way back, but he's now like a producer and he's actually working at the studio in Brunswick called Mycelium Studios. And he actually
Hmm.
just gave me a walkthrough Wednesday this week. Got like a full band room, like the equipment in there. I'm not like mm, technically orientated, especially with I couldn't name the equipment that he has in there, but it's it's state of the art. And he's actually like trying to push for me to actually get this new album that I'm working on pressed on vinyl, which is actually a really cool aspect because yeah, if you can sort of approach like labels and like when you're taking that next step as an artist, if you're actually able to be like, I've got this vinyl, that they'll be like, oh damn, as opposed to every other artist who approaches like labels. He says, "Oh, this is my latest release" or whatever else. Like, if you can like hand him a vinyl album and be like, "Damn, okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, and now that I've sort of started doing like more band jams, I think the coolest thing that's happened to me recently is it's this collective that performs every Monday night at the Wax Music Lounge in
Hmm.
Flinders Street, and they're called Circadian Rhythms. It's been around for quite a few years, but it's currently being like led by this incredible saxophonist by the name of Lachlan Daff.
Hmm.
And I kind of met him one night at the Toff. The Toff is on Tuesday nights. They start playing around midnight, but it's an incredibly talented band, and they will occasionally have guests up. And I was able to sort of like network my way up on stage. It used to be like an open mic back in the days, but now it's much more structured. So you gotta like prove yourself. So I met Lockie doing that, and then they play yeah, every Monday at Wax. And I just occasionally get up, and when I was really feeling the track, they'd have me up. But they record all the songs that they actually play. Like they get the stems and they actually mix and master the tracks that they really like. And actually, so they're working on their first album. And the Monday before last, Lockie actually approached me at Wax and was just like, "Oh man, like you know that track that we really like that you did? Like we actually decided to put it on our first album." So
There you go.
yeah, and that's what really inspired me to be like, damn, like why am I getting like YouTube beats when I could be doing like shit with bands? Like,
Yeah.
and now that this
Yeah.
sort of like studio opportunities opened up with my mate in Brunswick, where they got a band room. I mean, the amount of musicians that we know nowadays, like you got bloody Mickey from Preston
Yeah.
on keys, you got
Yeah.
Liam the bassman, you got Shorty, like an insanely talented drummer.
Mm.
You got Will Larson on sax, and it's just like, man, if I was able to, you know, organize this, get him in the one spot, and actually just like record some live tracks, that's the music that'll really like blow you away, really.
Yeah, and it also hits different as well.
Mm,
Especially when you're with a band and you guys are bouncing off each other, that's when you're really making magic. That's when you're really allowing the like music to just amplify and just freaking explode into the world, basically. The
mm,
power of a band, you
yeah.
know. And like just as you said, like, the YouTube beats, yeah, we could do that. That's cool, but like having a band is better because you're sharing your creative mind with other creative minds, especially in a group, and then you
Mm,
have everyone they're on their own little element, and they create different pieces to the puzzle of the music.
100%. Yeah.
And that's where I feel like it hits really different. So even when I go to like a Don't Split the Technique, like I really enjoy myself because there is a band happening. Because again, they're bouncing off each other, and then just creative minds just coming together and creating something absolutely amazing. Even if it's a freestyle or whatever, like we're just doing whatever just for the fun of it, and that's what creates the positive energy. That's what creates the positive vibe as well.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's what I've always loved. Man, though, so what's next for you, Slick Mick, in 2026?
Well, there's two albums in the works actually. So,
Ooh.
yeah, so the working title I've got is Not Everyone's Cup of Tea. And
Uh-huh.
that's going to be depending on if we do go for the vinyl release or not, because if it's the vinyl release, I'm sort of limited to like sort of, 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually 30 minutes per side. So like depending on the level of the tracks, but I got one album, Not Everyone's Cup of Tea, that's going to be anywhere from like 10 to 14 tracks.
Hmm.
And I'm actually working on a separate release. And these are actually love songs that I've written over the years. So it's going to incorporate that first release of mine, but just sort of re-recorded with better cadence and flow, I guess I've grown as an artist.
Hmm.
So Partner in Crime, it's got a love song that I wrote about one of my exes up in Byron Bay who I was madly infatuated with, and also this last summer romance where there was a song I wrote in the midst of our relationship, but it's also a song I wrote in the last sort of few months to actually sort of like mentally process the breakup. And it's a separate album called Slick's Love Notes.
Okay.
Um, and I wasn't actually gonna ever release these songs, but I was just hanging out with Shira one day, and I actually
Yep.
shared these songs with her, and she's like these songs are really beautiful, like, and and it actually just took the affirmation of one person to actually realize, and I was like, damn. And these songs were never part of my busking repertoire because they were really personal songs that I written about one person. And I was
Mm.
actually busking down at Burke Street the previous, like Tuesday before last.
Mm.
And then I just decided with like the last few songs I was going to perform, I actually had quite an audience of people gathered around, and I kind of just gave like a little introduction. I said, hey, look, like this is a concept I'm working on, and that's kind of exactly what I said to you. Like it's going to be called Slick's Love Notes, and I kind of just gave like a description of each song as I performed it. And they're actually received really well. And like
Mm.
people were sort of like, sat down and really sort of like locked in. Um, so yeah, like two new albums coming. 2026 is going to be an awesome year. They were actually meant to be released this year, but life.
Yeah. Well, that's also another thing. Of
There's no
course.
rush, man. Like I've only been doing this for like 4 years now, so
Yeah. Yeah,
you've
you gotta
got like
enjoy the process. You gotta enjoy the journey as
yeah,
well. Don't not being afraid to learn. Like go outside and mingle with other artists as well. See what you can learn from other artists as well. And
oh,
it's
100%, man.
yeah, so that's always been very important. That's why I'm always out here networking and going to other events because that way I get a different story from different kinds of artists, regardless if they're doing the same thing as you or not. But their story is different.
Mm.
So that's what makes it a bit more interesting. And that's why I love to welcome all these types of creatives on my show because someone needs to hear your story. You know what I'm saying? So,
Oh
yeah.
man, 100%. And it's like
Yeah.
I've only really just started this journey, and like it's constantly in those moments of self doubt. I've actually just going to realize, like, remind myself that I'm actually so new to this at the same time. Like
Mm,
the
mm,
amount of growth I've made in the time that I've been doing it surprises people, especially like some of the more sort of like established rappers, like Toomey for example. Like
hmm.
I remember he's like, man, how long have you been doing this for? And I was just like, oh, like 4 years. And he's like, fuck. He's like, Toomey's been like doing this shit for 10, 15
Yeah,
years
he's an
plus, you know?
OG, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then some of the artists even that I've been sort of like performing in that have just sort of like stemmed from doing the jams at Wax Music Lounge for Melodious Stump. And I was like, damn, like, like I have been working like tremendously hard at this. So it's like only natural that I've made that sort of amount of growth. But it does inspire me to like sort of look at artists like Ivan Ooze, for example, who's been doing this again for like 10, 15 plus years. I don't know
Mm.
if you're aware of this guy. Have you heard of Ivan Ooze?
It does ring a bell. I heard someone mention that name before.
So he's this year he did a tour with Bliss and Esso, like 27 shows, and
Okay.
opened for every single one of their shows.
Wow.
He actually he performed with Wu-Tang Clan back in 2017.
Wow.
Apparently that came about from him just like busking on Ackland
Mm.
Street at St Kilda back in 2017, and Ghostface from Wu-Tang Clan was literally walking down Ackland Street and just stumbled upon him busking on the street and was like, "What the fuck, a rapper from Australia? Like, bro,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
never
yeah,
heard this shit
yeah,
before." Yeah, so he actually, yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
he at the last show, the Australasian tour, he actually performed with Wu-Tang Clan, which was fucking crazy. That's what actually like really drew me in because he ended up doing a show like in 2023, and I'd sort of met him on the street randomly because
Yeah.
he also does like these cooking reels, which really kind of like blew up during COVID.
Mm.
But anyway, yeah, like I saw he's doing a show for like 21 bucks at Laundry Bar for his EP release.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, damn, I got to see what this guy's about. Like he's $21, and I was like, yeah, bro, that. he's a performer where like his energy is like next level,
Yeah.
like stage presence and actually like getting the people going. Like yeah, truly phenomenal. So yeah, so when I catch myself in those moments of self doubt, I just got to remember like, hey man, I've been doing this like not even 5 years. Like imagine what the next 5 years will bring.
Oh
So
yeah, man. Yeah,
mm,
absolutely, bro. No, I love that, bro. Well, I've that's basically it from me.
mm.
Was there any questions you had for me or anything you wanted to discuss or anything like that before we go?
Well, yeah, we're on the topic, bro. What's coming for you? Tell the people what's
Me.
happening.
Well,
You
so
got anything you can divulge on?
I mean, look, I am working on getting my own place to own. So not to rent, to own, and hopefully I'll be getting my own setup as well. So cameras and microphones and stuff like that, like the full podcast, like kind of setup. I'll still do Instagram live, whether if I've got people from interstate or overseas as well. So
Mm.
that's going to be the plan. Just obviously just more networking, more getting more guests because I've got my guests lined up until July next year, so I've got to figure out where everyone's going.
Mm.
So yeah, it's going to be very busy, but yeah, hopefully I connect with more OGs from the hip hop, which and see if I can get another celebrity because one of my biggest achievements was interviewing one of the actors from American Pie. So
Oh, there you go, man.
that's my biggest achievement. Well, the guy from American Pie, as well as there was another rapper from Texas, goes by the name of Mike D, who goes back to like 1995, and man, like that, and Texas treats him like his royalty. Like as soon as he speaks, everybody listens. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So yeah, and his name is Mike D. And shout out to Mike D, bro, because he's also following me as well on Instagram too. Much love to that man. But
Hell yeah.
yeah, that's it for now.
Awesome, man. We're out here. We're striving
Yeah,
to
we out
achieve.
here, bro. We out here. And I do wanna, before we go, I do wanna let you know, Sleek. I define what a successful person is. So if you're doing what you love doing, you are going hard at it. You're not giving up. You're getting results, whether it's minor or major, and you enjoy doing what you're doing. You are a successful person. So you are a successful person, Slick Mick.
Thank you, man. That means a great deal.
All right.
Right back
Hopefully
at you,
that made you
brother.
feel better today.
It did, man. I felt that in my heart. And right back at you, man. Right back at you.
I appreciate you, Brian. And
Thanks
this
so
is going
much
to
for
be
having me,
on.
man.
Yeah, hell yeah, of course. Why not? Absolutely. This will be on YouTube and Spotify as well next week. Yeah, we'll be next week, and yeah, we're going to do a bunch of shorts and tagging you and blah blah blah.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, you
Let's go.
enjoy the rest of your day, and also Merry Christmas, Happy New Year as well.
Thank you, mate. You too.
And yeah, we'll speak soon, man.
Shout out to the great Labzy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
Have an
bro. I want to say
amazing
thank
day.
you. And I want to say thank you for the people that have joined in. Please go follow Slick Mick, man. Please go. If you're in the pier in St. Kilda and you hear a man freestyling, it's most likely Slick Mick. So go check him out, please. Go check him out.
Peace.
All
Love.
right. See you guys.
Hell yeah.